I was like, what do I do? And he's like, you go to rehab. So that was it. All right. So currently, well, yeah, I guess when's the last time when we're
standing outside of the Y, I believe you made amends to me.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And I was trying to get my my NASM certification.
That's what it was.
Yeah, because I was working at Ranch House, and I like tech job, whatever, worked my way up, director of operations, and that for me it really wasn't like the job for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it was like because I like working with the dudes. Like I want to be like in the mix, talking shit, you know, like, and it was putting me like more in the office, and so it was cool, and the main thing was that I like loved the place, like super family vibes. But also, my daughter, I have a daughter who's almost 2. She's turning 2 soon.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And I just wasn't spending much time with her. Like there was days I'd like go to work, she was asleep, and I was getting home and she was asleep, and I was like, I just can't do this. Like I know for certain on my deathbed I'm not gonna be like, damn, I wish I would have worked more. Yeah. You know, like where I know that like these moments are precious. That's been like clear to me the whole time. So I was like, all right, cool. I want to do something different. And I was like, and working out, like we were talking about, working out was just like such a game changer for me, like in life, in my mentality, in my sobriety. So I was like, all right, I want to figure out a way to mix these things. And so I had kind of like from doing that, I was like, all right, I had this idea of Path of Dog for a long time. And I was like, all right, I'm going to kind of like mix the two and do like sober coaching with the working out. And it was awesome because like I quit, and like I was telling you, like, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like no plan. Same thing you were saying. Like I barely know how to turn a computer on. Like the first time someone asked for an invoice, I literally had to look up what it was. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. I just wrote an email and wrote out the price, what I was giving them, signed my name, and that was my invoice.
Dude, I was just shaking hands. I was like, yeah, you just Venmo me, bro. Yeah. And they were like, no. So I went and talked to Chris Hudson. I don't know if you know him over at who's a super good dude. And he was like, all right, you got to at least get like business cards and a website. So I did that. And like from having worked with so many families at Ranch House, like my roster filled like right away, just like fully full, but it ended up being just like, it was hard to get, it ended up being sober coaching. That's what it was. And it wasn't my dream for Path of Dog. So I was like, okay, I did it for a while. Also, the hard part was I was just like a one-man business. And so it's like I was full, but what I wasn't able to do, because I was just grinding so hard with the guys, is I wasn't able to go out and like line up next clients. So, you know, and like when you're sober coaching, it's like working a rehab, except they can get drugs all the time, which they do. And so it's like people were spinning off, and I'd kind of follow them through their path. But then, then like basically like a bunch of clients fell off, and I was like, all right, I want Path of Dog to be this. So I want a sober coach thing. So so I started working for Brain Food. I'm coaching with them. I'm kind of rebuilding Path of Dog right now. To spit out. It still has like a little social media presence where I'm like just staying on that, mostly around, and I have some clients still that I hold with that. And the guys that I've really liked working with actually have sober time. So I'm not like, you know, I'm not like holding their hand fresh out of rehab, trying to make sure they survive the first 3 months of sober living. These are guys with a year plus, and we're working on a lot of like mindset stuff, you know, like limiting belief systems, and how do you get through, you know, like having a super busy job and a wife and a kid, and, you know, and like that work. So that's really where I want to take that, I think, is like move that into more of like personal development space.
So that's what I was going to say. There's obviously going to be a little bit of a recovery component to it, but it's more like life skills, life coaching, and getting you healthy.
Yeah, and I'm naturally going to attract drug addicts, you know, like it's just like I look like a drug addict. I am a drug, you know, like I'm not one of those like anonymous people. I don't believe in that. I think it's I think I heard you saying it, you know, it's like I can help more people. That's my mission. It's like I want to help human beings. Right. Because I know what it feels like to be in hell, and I know what it feels like to be out of hell. Yeah. So I want to like do this. So that's really like, that's what I've been up to. I've been a dad, man. That's what I've been doing. Like really spending my life with my daughter as much of it as I can. Like making money, doing that, working out a lot. Like I said, I've been thinking about running. It's been like coming back. It's been coming back into my mind.
Right. So dude, first off, let me ask you, so what do you have to say so obviously you and I were speaking a little bit before we started this episode. We were talking about the workout shit, and then I guarantee you've had just as many people say it to you as they did to me, but what do you say to people that are saying you're replacing one addiction for another, and you know what I mean? You're putting all your eggs into the workout basket and all that stuff.
I can say that no one in my family's ever worried all night that I'm working out too much. I can say that I've never done almost anything. I don't know, like maybe I am. Sometimes I am. I've done it. I go through like waves of it, you know, and I pay attention to it. You know, like I try to pay attention to the balance in my life because there has been times I've done that. I've felt it where I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm in the gym like 3 hours a day. And when I'm not doing that, I'm literally like watching friggin' videos about the gym, you know? So I just try to balance it. But I think the thing that I've been thinking about a lot and I talk to a lot of people about is like, I think people like us are just like hyper focused psychopaths. So it's like you have to point at something. That's why that was so huge for me that time getting out of rehab is like when I ran with you is because I had something to point. There's this guy Joe. He's like one of my spiritual teachers. He's just amazing dude, super weirdo guy out in New Mexico. And when I told him I was running ultra marathons, he was like, Damian, I'm so glad you're figuring this out finally. Because like you're never going to be normal. Mm-hmm. You could be sober, but that thing in you that you think's going to go away, it's never going away. Right. Like you just have to figure out stuff to point it at. Nope. And so so what would I say to someone? I don't even know why someone would say that to me. Right. You know, like, you know who would say that to me? Like some weirdo AA, like bot human, right. You know? And I'd say to them like, I'm glad whatever you're doing is working for you. Right. Yeah.
Good answer. I was literally just the exact thing you just said. I was literally talking to my wife about, and I was like, look, like, yeah, I have an addict mentality, but the one thing I do know is when I can harness that energy and point it in the direction of something positive, I could do some pretty special shit.
Absolutely.
Like we are capable because we're willing to fucking go, bro. Like we're willing to take it to levels other people won't take it. And so like when I get latched on to something, you know what I mean? Like that's a good thing. Like I'm inspired. I'm fucking motivated. My blinders are on and there's nothing getting in the way. You know what I mean? And I was trying to explain to her. I was like, because I think we were going back and forth, and she's the type of person, she could be on the speakerphone with her sister watching TikTok and 90 Day Fiance at the same time, and she knows what's going on with all three somehow. I'm not like that. I'm like you said, hyper-focused. If I'm texting, and you come in the room and talk to me, I have no idea what you just said. Yeah. It's nothing against you. I'm just already here. And so I was like trying to explain to her, I was like, look, like, this is a motivated and inspired me, and that's a good thing. When I don't have this in my life, that's when there's problems.
Yeah, and I think it's a double-edged sword, you know? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. It's like, how you use it is what's going to be, like, super important. Like, when we're pointing in the right direction, we're using it for good, awesome.
Right.
Like, no one, I'm trying to think if there was anything I did with. Actually, I got really into crypto at one point, and I was, like, so obsessed with it that I bought this, like, case for it so you could take it in water because I literally would shower with it. And her wife was like, if you don't stop doing that, I'm going to leave you. She's like, it's insane what you're doing. And so there's like times
you were in the shower looking at crypto.
Just like, well, it's just like I get anything I do, I'm going to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to like study it and read the book about that. And then I'm going to read the book about the guy that the guy talked about in the book about the, you know, and so it's like, I just have to, I think we just have to pay attention to balance to some extent, but I'm not like a super balanced guy.
Right. Me neither.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I think learning to harness that is equally as important as like being balanced, you know?
It's a superpower.
It's super.
If you can harness that shit and learn balance, it's a fucking superpower.
Yeah.
So dude, you were one of the few people, you know, in all my years of training people and all that, you know, I was doing a lot of running, and for me, it was always easier to talk people into the working out part. But you are one of the very, very few that when I brought up the running shit and the ultra running shit, your ears perked up, your eyes perked up, and you told me from day one, I want to try it. I want to do it. I want to do it. And bro, you hopped out there quick. And like you went up in distance quick. And I was like, oh shit, let's fucking go. But dude, you were at every race. You jumped right in with the crew, like everything like that. How important was that for you, like leaving treatment and having that? Because I know for me, dude, all the other dozen times I left treatment, it was like I was directionless walking out. I was scared, directionless. And the last time, I was so confident. I was so excited for what lay ahead because I had this amazing group of people to go hang out with and to go push myself with and fucking realize I was capable of far more than I ever thought possible. So complete game changer for me. What was it like for you?
It was exactly that. And like, like built-in community, which is cool. Because I was running with y'all. I was running with like the ARC guys. I was running with you. I was running with Penny and the ladies, you know what I mean? Like I just had so much to do. And it's like, cause if not, I mean, that's like literally what my job is right now is I'm trying to get people to realize that getting out of rehab, especially when you have nothing, You have nothing. You go to some sober living house that you don't like. You have to immediately get a job that you probably don't like, you know? And like, if you have nothing that's like pulling you so that all this makes sense so you could do the other thing, like if I'm miserable when I'm getting high and I'm miserable when I'm sober, I'm eventually going to get high again. Because I'm like, well, I'm miserable regardless, then at least I'm doing that. So with that, yeah, it gave me short-term goals. And actually, and remember there was like they were like, you're doing this like an act. I was supposed to run that race. There was one race I was supposed to do, but I ended up running with Penny. After I ran 10 miles with you at Lady Bird Lake. That was the longest I'd ever run. It blew my mind. I remember like talking to my wife and being like, I just ran 10 miles. I ran that next weekend with Penny and them for the first time. And she was like, hey, I have a 50-mile race coming up in like 2 weeks. You should run it. And I was like, I can't run 50 miles. And she's like, you can run 50 miles. Yeah. And I was like, no, my legs won't do it. She's like, it's not your legs. Like you can do it. And I remember because I went and talked to them and everyone was pissed. And they're like, you're doing this like an addict. And I was like, fuck Shawn, man. Like, whatever, dude. I thought he was whatever. And then you were
fuck
like,
me?
Yeah, well, because you were part of the thing. But then remember, you're like, yo, meet me at the Y. And you're like, yo, I don't know if you should be doing this, but hey, I'll train you how to do it, you know? And then you like lined me up on how to do it. So you're like, this is the mentality you need, is like, it didn't matter if people were pissed that I was doing it or I was trading one addiction for the other. Like, I was going to run 50 miles. And doing that, exactly what you said, changed my life. I mean, literally changed the whole course of my life in that race. Yeah, because it was like, I could do more than I thought, you know, more than I thought. Because, you know, there's like this thing that happened for me out there, which was like, first I hit the wall of my body, where my body was like, I can't run any further. And my brain pulled us. And I was like, okay, well, watch this. My brain's strong. And then eventually my brain was like, we can't do this. And then I hit that third where like your spirit hits. And I was like, oh my God. I remember I was running literally and crying at one point and like laughing. And like, I was just like, this is insane. And then I was like, then I knew that was in there. And knowing that was in there is like, it's been huge for me. Because exactly what you're saying, it's a superpower. It's that thing that would walk where like if you were like, yo, the dope man's a million miles away and I'm sick and I'll like scoot my way there in the rain, you know, like I've always used it for bad. And this was the first time that I was like, I can use this for something positive. And yeah, just game changer. You changed my whole life. Right. I was 150 pounds at that time. You know, I was like 6'3", 150. Like I've gained like 50 pounds in like almost shit. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, and it also introduced me to my body. Right. Like, did I have this like interesting vehicle, you know, that carries whatever my consciousness around, and that I can do a lot with it. And my mental health was really good from running. And I was like, wow, this hits like every vector in my whole life. Exactly. Yeah.
I need everybody to understand, when you are beat down as a drug addict year after year for making bad decisions, you end up, every time you introduce yourself as an addict, an alcoholic, a dope fiend. That shit beats you down in the head. And so when somebody can leave treatment and go out there and run 50 miles at one time, it is life-changing. It teaches you that you are capable of far more than you ever thought possible. So, dude, you've given me goosebumps twice already, dude.
Well, and you know what it did also is I'd never completed anything. That race was the first thing I completed. Really? Where I was like, yeah, start to finish, you know? Like, I started a lot of shit. Right. Like, for sure. You know? I had a lot of big ideas. Of course. But there was no follow through. So, yeah, that was the first thing where I was like, and what I learned is the process was so cool. Because I thought that there'd be this big moment at the end when they give me the belt buckle. And it was almost a letdown a little bit. Because I was just like, oh, now it's over. Damn. Yeah. I was like, next one.
Right. But it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Every big race I do that night, I'm like, well, there's never any reason to run that far again. And then you wake up the next morning and you're like, what's the next distance? I could do it.
It's crazy.
Dude, so many good things going on in your life, baby, a business, working, helping people and stuff like that. Let's take you back to like when you were at your worst. Like when you were at your worst back in your addiction, what was that looking like?
God, there's been so many different versions of worse. I think like, well, right before I started my journey of getting sober at like 33, like for real, like where I was like, I want to get sober.
Cause you're kind of in and out for years.
No, right? Not at that point. I went to rehab once when I was 21. Okay. Quasi on accident. It's not like anyone shoved me in there. I had been doing pills. I'm from South Florida, so it's like the pill mills hit. I've been doing pills and I'd never run out. And it was the first time I ran out. And bro, like this is how little they
You're
teach
from
you.
Florida?
Yeah.
That makes so much.
Yeah, South Florida.
So much.
Broward County, worst place.
Is it?
Yeah.
I used to live there.
Yeah.
Deerfield Beach, Pompano Beach.
I'm from Hollywood.
Okay.
And I left on my 18th. You know, it was just like, but like, I didn't even know you can get addicted to, like, I didn't know about dope sick. I didn't know about any of this stuff. So it was like the pills ran out and I started getting a cold, except I couldn't sleep, you know. I was like, oh shit. So I called this guy that I knew and I was like, yo, I'm getting sick. I don't have no deal or anything. I was out in LA and I was like, what do I do? And he's like, you go to rehab. So I was at 21. The only thing that came out of that rehab was that I went into rehab an Oxycontin addict, and 5 days out of rehab, I shot heroin for my first time. So that's what it did for me.
Yeah.
And then, at 33 is when I really was like, I guess, I don't know if it's rock bottom, but like, basically, I'm an alcoholic, like a very serious alcoholic. Like, wake up in the middle of the night shaking, I puke blood, blood comes out of all my holes, like, it's disgusting. And I'm a heroin addict, and so I'd kind of switch between the two because I traveled a lot. I was like a traveling punk, you know, and so I couldn't always do both. So I'd switch between them, and at this point I was kicking dope. So when I would kick dope, I'd start drinking, and that would start that addiction back up. And really, alcohol was worse for me because when I'm doing dope, it's sad, and I'm disgusting, you know. But I'm really like, I'm a pretty mild-mannered human because I'm asleep,
right.
You know. And it's like when I'm not a good drunk,
yeah,
you know. And so I'd went out to see my girlfriend who was trying to leave me constantly, justifiably so. And I was like, please, one more time, one more chance, you know. So of course I kick dope, buy all this cocaine, take this RV, leave it on the road, get to Oregon, and basically we were traveling back with some friends from Oregon back to LA. They were going to drop me off. And we were in Oakland, California, and I'd been drinking and I blacked out, and I had started having these like little bouts of violence where like I've had violence in my life, but these were like weird, like violent towards people I like, you know, like where I was like, and I was starting to feel like this ain't good if I can't control myself. And that was like one of my few lines in the sand was like, no hitting women, you know, like I'll rock. I don't care if I steal all your shit. Like, no one mattered to me. But that was like this one, you know, I could like be like my badge of honor is I'm not an abusive psychopath, you know? And so I kind of like came to, and I was pushing her. And I was like, and she was just like, what are you fucking doing? You know? And it like, I snapped out of it. It was my first time really ever like sleeping on the street. And I remember I like met some other homeless kids. I went like to the bridge. They kicked me out because they were like, we can't make money with you because you're too drunk, you know? And it was like, there's a lot of like terrible physical things that happened in that time, but like my spirit was defeated. Like, and I wish I could say I got sober that day, but I didn't. I went back to LA and I did heroin for like another like 4 months. But I was just crushed as a human. And I had figured out that I couldn't stop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you had that moment where it's like, I never wanted to stop.
No.
So that was not a thing for me.
Right.
It wasn't like I ever tried and
couldn't.
Yeah, I only wanted to get high. Like, it was my whole identity. I was a drug addict, you know, and I was very proud of it to the extent that I could be.
Right.
You know, but it was like who I was, and I was okay with that. And then I wanted to stop, and I could not. And I just kept, you know, it was the worst because I'd be dope sick like every 3 days because I'd be dope sick, then I'd crumble, get high for 3 days, try to kick again, you know?
Yep.
And like, it's just, that was like some of those were, but it was dark spiritually and it was dark mentally for me. So I've had all kinds of stuff where I've like lived outside and I've eaten at trash cans and like where my life, you know, and like even just like getting all my teeth fixed, you know, I didn't shower, I didn't brush my teeth, I was disgusting. Like if I went to my dad's house, I'd literally have to like leave my clothes on the front porch and like take a shower before I could go into his house. But yeah, that was really like probably my like, that's when I was like, I need to change. Yeah. Like I want to change. I don't want to live like this anymore because I am not proud of myself at all. Even as a drug addict, like now I'm a drug addict that I'm not proud of.
Right.
So I think that was like that was for me the big turning point.
Dude, I bounced around from state to state for a little while, for a couple years, and so I ended up in Broward County, and I, for whatever reason, thought I was going to move down near Miami and everything was just going to be okay. And I think the first 2 days I oddly enough, couldn't find pills. Couldn't find oxys because that's what I was on. So met a dude, he's like, I can't get those, but I can get heroin. And I was like, bet.
Y'all go down to like Opelika or something?
Yep, so we were down at Hialeah.
Yeah.
What's that huge flea market down there in Miami? In Carroll City.
I know exactly.
Huge flea market. But I started going down into Miami every day. And then, bro, like, I mean, it went down quick. Before I knew it, I was sitting outside with a credit card every day, fucking trying to fill people's gas tanks up to get them to give me cash. And then I'd drive this dude around who was like a professional shoplifter, and he'd wear like the what are those things called that like suck your stomach in?
Oh,
like a belly band type shit.
Yeah.
He'd like wear one of those, and then he'd go stuff like Mach 3 razors and cologne and Tylenol and all these things.
That's a good tactic. They're like,
yeah. So he'd put it all in there, or he'd have me. I wouldn't steal shit, but I'd push the cart around and like watch out for him and shit. And then he'd go fence this stuff off to like car dealerships, and all these used car dealer guys would buy this shit off him. But I remember that lasted for about a year in Miami, and I was just like, I can't do this. I definitely didn't quit then, but then I left Miami.
So you were doing the same thing. Yeah, because I was like, if I can find the right spot.
Yeah.
I moved to so many places.
I went 5 states in 2 years.
Yeah.
And then ended up in Scientology rehab after being in Florida, Narconon in Louisiana.
Crazy.
Denham Springs. Didn't know that's where I was going. Woke up there.
Yeah.
And then after that, was going to go back to Ohio. I had already been in the Air Force, and then decided to get in the Army, and then that's what brought me to Texas. And still didn't get my shit straight, but we're here now.
Yeah.
So the one thing I know, and I say it all the time, dude, is, and I'm sure you feel the same way, is I've had to go through every single thing that I've been through to be who I am today, and I wouldn't change that for fucking anybody.
Yeah, not at all.
Oddly enough.
You know, when I got at that in that like dark spot, then I ended up back in LA after that. And so I lived with like my brother and my cousins. One of them's dead. Everyone's kind of sober now at this point, actually, who survived. And, you know, I was just laying there like, and I was like, man, I'm like a bad brother, you know, to my little brother. We're doing dope together. My cousin. And like, I remember I started praying, which was not some shit I did, you know, like, and I remember literally being like, God, please help me somehow. And I remember I made this little altar and I put heroin on it because I was like, I love that the most. Yeah, I took it off and did it, of course. But like it was
you made it was altar?
It was symbolic. Yeah, like I was literally just wanted help so bad, and I got mental health insurance, and I went to this little rehab at some like Seventh-day Adventist. It was a hospital, so I detoxed there, and I think it was 7 days of rehab, and I stayed sober for 2 years after that. But I was saying that to say, so I went to these meetings. After 7 days, I still couldn't sleep for like another month. And so I looked up an AA meeting because one of the overnight tech, I was up with him every night because I couldn't sleep. And he was just like an AA guy. So he was like, yo, just go to AA. That's what you got to do. And I went, and this guy, Peter Green, who I loved, everyone there, it was a 6 a.m. meeting. Everyone had like 30 years. No one goes to a 6 a.m. meeting. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just for people that really love this shit.
Yeah.
And I remember I started getting like, I had big earplugs. I got those cut off. I was going to get all my face tattoos. I didn't have all these. I had like literally had 2-inch ears.
Oh, and then you had them cut off.
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Cut off. I had like all these septum rings and big holes in my ear.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could get them cut off.
Yeah. They just sew them.
No shit.
Yeah.
I would have never known that.
They did it in a piercing shop, like a surgery. It was amazing.
They just numb it up and snip.
Few stitches.
Really?
Good. Yeah, the guy was good though. So I was like, I had heard he was good. And I was starting to get like, I was gonna get my face tattoos taken off because I was like, I want to be a normal person. And this guy Peter was like, Damian. He was like this old guy from Chicago, and he basically was like, don't do that. Like, your life will be so useful. You don't know this now, but like, you can help people who I can't touch, you know? And so, yeah, everything I've been through, I wouldn't, like, if there was a change your life button, I would not touch it. There's no way. I'm so blessed, and I'm so lucky I think like for us, we get these, like, we have a perspective that most people can't understand. I think it gives us a lot of empathy too.
Yeah.
Because I've been everybody. I've been the worst guy. So I can't judge everybody all the time because I'm like, oh, that's me.
Right. When you said I do have empathy. I have empathy for people that are trying.
Yeah. I don't have empathy. I actually don't have a lot of time for bullshit at all. Right. I've cut most people out of my life, to be really fair. Right. Yeah. I have empathy in my heart. But I ain't got time for that shit in my life, bro.
Yeah. Somebody had just asked me a question. They were like, you know, what do you do if what do you do if somebody really close to you's, struggling and this and that? And I was like, if they're very close to me, of course, I'm going to have the uncomfortable conversation and tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. I was like, but outside of that, like, if they're not ready, they're not ready. I'm not chasing anybody down anymore. I'll be here if you make it back.
Yep.
But, like, I don't have time anymore to sit there and chase people and fucking beg you to be sober or beg you to change your life, beg you to want to work out. If my head hits the pillow, I'm going to sleep fine tonight. It's all what you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
I'm here to help if you're ready, but.
I really think it's detrimental, like, that people shove these people into rehab when they're not ready. Like, I feel really blessed that when I wanted to get sober, it was because I went, I'm done.
Yeah.
I tapped out.
Right.
No one can tap you out.
Right.
They can't be like, you can't scare us into it, or else we would have got sober a long time ago. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't have empathy for everything. I mean, I have compassion, maybe.
Yeah. That's probably why I don't belong working in the treatment industry, because I'll be the first person to be like, well, I'm fucking go. You want to go get high? Go ahead. Have a ball.
Say, I did that when I worked there. They'd be like, I want to leave. I'd be like, cool, there's no locked doors here, just so you know.
Go.
Yeah, you're free.
Yeah, you can be getting high in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really say that, but
I mean,
don't do it, but if you're going to go.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody understands what we're saying. I'm not an asshole, but when you sit there and you try to get people or try to show them the way, and they sit there and you give them everything you got, you give them, you know what I mean, all your know-how, everything you did, and then they just don't want to take it. Like, why are we meeting anymore?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I'm training you in the gym, if I'm sitting down with you and we're going to talk about recovery and I'm coaching you and I'm telling you, this is the recipe for success, this is what you got to do, but you come back to me every time and you haven't done it, you're wasting your money.
Well, I think the best thing you could do is like what you did for me is you model a life that's worth living. Because no one could yell at me and make me do anything.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
Right.
I've never done it since I was a kid.
If anything, that's going to push your raise on more.
Yeah, since I was a child, I've like not responded well to that. Like they'd be like, "Yeah, do your schoolwork." I was like, "No." And that was it. I was just like, I'm born backwards somehow.
Right.
But especially when my life was falling apart so much, seeing people that I knew had been through shit that I've been through, that know the feelings that I have, and then their life is awesome, that's why it's just like live an awesome life. Because if I go to some meeting or something and some guy's like, I'm 20 years sober and all he does is bitch about life and shit, like, I'm not inspired by that.
Right. I
don't want to be him.
Yeah.
But like when you come in, you're like, I ran 100 miles. I was like, run 100 fucking miles.
Right.
I don't do that.
Right.
And you talked about like earning your sleep, and like this kind of stuff, like that's like, and I know that I respond to certain things and not everyone does, but for a guy like me,
yeah,
like that's what I need. I need to see like a man who's like standing firm in his like life and being like, I got my shit together and it's not easy and it's going to be hard and you're going to have to do, it's just like, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all ears.
Yeah, if somebody can give me the real shit, the real shit, not the fucking bubblegum book. I'm not saying the book's bad, but I'm saying like, if you're sitting there quoting cliches to me all the time, I don't hear you.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a real conversation and say some real shit, now you got my attention.
Yeah, tell me how to fix my credit.
Right.
Like, tell me how someone buys a house. I don't know how to do any of this shit. I know how to do nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
did you do that yet?
No. Is it terrible?
No, it's the most amazing, exhilarating thing when it's all done. That whole process, for me, dude, it was the most stressful. As soon as I see paperwork and emails and all that stuff, I get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'm not doing it. But this is a house, you know what I mean? Thank God for my wife, dude. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have a house. Yeah. You know what I mean? She's the one that fucking put a foot in my ass and was like, we're doing this. I'm like, okay. But speaking of that, dude, you and your lady, you've been together quite a while, right?
Yeah, we've been married 5 years now.
Really?
Yeah.
She's been through a lot.
She's been through life,
I'm saying with you though.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, and we're really rebuilding right now. I mean, I'm fighting to get this marriage back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's been through hell with me.
Yeah.
Like over and over again. It's really been dawning on me. Like, and I mean, just in this last week, actually, like when I really sit down and look at it, like how, because when I think about it, honestly, I'm like, would I put up with that?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know at all, like I could be such an asshole over some little shit. Like, and I got a lot of work to do on that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing when I got sober is I have so much work to do in so many areas. Like no one ever modeled a good relationship for me. I've barely ever seen one. So I'm like, I'm like literally on YouTube trying to learn how to, just try to do better. But yeah, she's been through a lot with me. She's been patient. And she's a kind person, and she's also like a hard ass, which I need,
Mm-hmm.
like she doesn't like adore me and give me everything. She's like, nah, level up.
Right.
And like,
same thing with my wife.
Because I was trying to tell her when we met, I'm like, you understand, this is the pinnacle of me. And she's like, do better.
Right.
I was like, oh damn.
Yeah.
This bitch is, and
Right.
and I have, and she's definitely, she's civilized me, which has been really cool. And she's like crafted me into a much better man. So yeah, we've been through a lot, and we've had like a few times of separation and coming back. And yeah, God, I don't think I'd be alive if she wasn't there through some of those times. Like, not this. You know what she did one time? This is so genius. So I was drinking, and when I'm a blackout drunk, all the way blackout. And so in my blackout, she somehow taught me her phone number, like took the time to sit me down and tell me, because I woke up and I was in the hospital and there was cops all around, and I was like, oh no, like I don't know what's happening, but I'm gonna have to figure this shit out real quick. And I remember they were like, well, do you know anyone's number? And I remember I was like, I know my wife's number. I was like, how the fuck do I know her number? And I asked her, I was like, Lauren, how do I know your number? She's like, I taught it to you in a blackout, so you would know it. And I was like, you are a genius. But it's been a while. It's been like almost 3 years since we've had to deal with any of that stuff. So that's been like, that smooths a lot out, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Dude, my wife's the exact same way. I like to think I run my household, but I've come to the conclusion recently I do not.
No.
It sounds good when I say it.
Yeah.
It's not the case. And dude, but I've just realized, you know, we're doing couples therapy, and I'm doing therapy and all that, because 7 years sober, like I still realize, like, oh shit, like just because I'm sober doesn't mean like I'm good.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I still have a lot of shit I need to work on. My marriage is the first healthy relationship I've ever been in. And I'm discovering this, like doing therapy and all that. And thank God she's just patient and deals with me when, you know what I mean, how she can. But it's funny, dude. I was like, man, bro, I'm exaggerating a bit, but I can't get a compliment to save my fucking life from her. And I asked her about it the one time. She's like, you get enough of that out there. You're not getting it here. I don't need you coming home with a big head. And I was like, this motherfucker, like, she's probably right.
But we pick those people.
No, right.
You know what I mean? Like and almost everyone I know has partners and wives just like that. Like, because we know we need it, you know? Like, I don't need someone to tell me everything I do is right, because it's not. No, I feel like when we get sober, that's when the work starts. Like, that's level one. That's just literally, that's survival. Yeah. Now you've learned to survive, right? I'm not going to die. Now it's like, now I got to learn who I am, right? Knowledge of self. And that's like, for me, has been the next camp, is like, who really is Damian? What does he want to do? Like, who's Shawn? Like, and to get to watch the evolution of people once they get sober, it's so cool, because they're just this mess of a human, right? And then they slowly, you see them try a bunch of stuff, you know, they get really into this, really into that, and then one thing sticks and they kind of move with it, you know. And so yeah, I feel like that's like the beginning of the work,
right? I heard somebody saying something recently, and they were talking about, like, basically, like, through life you're going to reinvent yourself multiple times. Yeah. And so when I talk with people that are in treatment or newly getting sober, and they're like, oh, my world's ended, I'm like, dude, you don't even understand. Like, I've already had like 3 lifetimes just since I got sober. It's like I've had three different identities. Like, first I was just this dope fiend, and then all of a sudden now I'm this ultra runner, and the documentary comes out. Most of the people who listen to this don't even know that there is a documentary. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because now I'm not that really anymore. Yeah. Now it's like this podcasting thing. I'm more in the gym, and so it's like, but it's all good. Yeah. And it's like, all right, well, what's going to come next? Yeah. It's a cool place to be.
That shit's wild. Like, because like people who know you now, imagine if they were trying to if they were explaining this person to people that knew you in the past, they would not know that these people are the same person in the slightest. Right. Like, the change is so drastic of who we get to become. Yeah, and now you're like doing a podcast.
Right. Wild.
It's awesome.
Who would have thought? What, with the working out stuff, what was your initial inspiration with it? And then who are the people that you like latched onto to get a lot of your information?
Well,
when you were first learning.
First person, my little brother. Okay. So my little brother's like a workout guy.
And I met him.
Oh yeah,
treatment, right?
You did meet him. Yeah, that's right.
I came up and said his Damian's brother. I was like, Damian, face tat Damian? He's like, yeah. I'm like, no shit. I didn't even know he had a brother.
Bro, he's in the most wild shape right now. We're going to, he's gonna step on stage.
Let's go. Oh, is he gonna do a show?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, dude, he's a beast. And he's just shredded. But he always was a workout guy. Like, I feel like we took like opposite paths. I was like dirty punk, live outside. He was like, you know, like he kind of lived the double life. But he was able to like hold the job and do the thing. He was a stunt man, you know, and like he's sober right now and an amazing father. Everyone in my family's sober. It's awesome. And except my mom because she's normal. But he was like, yo, come to the gym. I was out in Atlanta. And he's like, come there. I was like, I don't go to the gym. Blah, blah, blah. It's not my thing. And he's like, bro, just come to the gym. I went to the gym with him. And like that next day, I was like, I feel great. Like my brain feels good, And then I went, so I eventually also always thought that I was dope sick for like 8 months after I'd get sober. And then someone was like, have you ever checked your testosterone? I didn't know what that was.
Every time you yawned, did your eyes water?
Yeah.
Bro, that shit, it would make me feel, I was like, oh, I'm
so and I never would feel better because I had testosterone at 170. So someone told me to check that. I didn't even know what testosterone was. Literally the word I didn't know. And so I got that checked, and then that helped a lot because I had energy. And between that and working out and then seeing like this change in my body, I was like, whoa, this is cool. And people responded to me different. Like, and I was working in a rehab when I was getting bigger, and like the guys responded to me different as I was getting, and then I got a little too big. Like I just like took it to the next level. But him, my information, I worked with, my first coach was Brad, Reliant Fitness. And then I worked with this guy online, Gabe, and basically they would send you like like there was an app to work out and then a nutrition plan. And I like I said, like when I get into something, I'm super into it. So I was like, just line me up and I'll just and move with it. So I was kind of working with coaches a lot. And then, there's like people I follow online that I like a lot. Mike Rashid, I was watching him a lot. Then I got like kind of into like the sciencey stuff, and I was like, eventually I was just like, you just got to lift weight.
Right.
You lift heavy stuff. You either eat a lot or you don't eat very much at all, and like depending upon what you're doing. And I've kind of like calmed down on because I got a little too into it. So I've like pulled back from that. But I worked out a lot with the boys, like, and I learned that was like a really cool connecting point.
100%.
Like every Saturday at
I'm supposed to be coming up there
to Matt.
I just met him
at Apollo.
I just met him.
Matt. Just such a good human being. Like super great man. And like, so I go on Saturdays there too. And it's like, it's just such a cool way to connect with people, especially with dudes, like, and I don't know how it is for women because I'm not one and I don't work out with them, but like, just like a bunch of dudes working out. And it sounds so dumb because it's so meatheady, but it's like that. And then people are talking about what's going on with them, it just becomes like this place because I'm busy.
Yeah.
Like, so everything I do I want it to have a dual function. So if I can like hang out with you and we catch a workout, because I got to work out anyways. Now I turned 1 hour into 2 hours, and that's like, I was just doing that, especially in the beginning, because basically I got sober and my wife got pregnant, like pretty damn quick right after that. So it was like locked in mode. And then almost a year sober having a baby, it was just like, I did just anything I could to save some time.
Really?
Yeah.
When I remember my buddy Justin was the first dude that was like initially trying to get me into the gym, and then I went through some heartbreak, and that was the last kick in the ass I needed that actually pushed me all the way in the gym. And then I just couldn't get my hands on enough information. It's the only thing in my life where all of a sudden I'm going to the library to check out books and shit. And then I discover who John Meadows is, and hypertrophy coach, and Ryan Humiston, like all these different guys. And I'm sitting there, one's funny, one's educational, one's like the Mr. Rogers of bodybuilding, like explains everything perfectly. So, bro, I just would soak that up every day. Every morning, and then whatever they did in that workout, if I was hitting chest that day, I'd look up Mountain Dog Chest Day.
Yeah.
Hit that workout, go in. But dude, there was so much to say for just going in the gym and learning and teaching myself and just lifting, because then all of a sudden light bulbs start going off and things start feeling the way it should. And then that's where it's like, all right, what else can I learn? What else can I do?
And to be fair, I still do watch workout stuff every day. Yeah, like I'll watch like Mike Israetel almost every day. I've gotten to like a Sam Sulek phase at a time. Like I definitely watch, and especially like to get pumped on that day. Yeah, all right, chest day. Let's see who's got like Seth Furrow's chest day,
he's a big one for me too.
He was huge for me. I really liked.
He's a Pittsburgh guy. Let's go.
Oh yeah, that's right. Y'all are Pittsburgh. Yeah, and I liked also like some of the people who talked about like the philosophy behind it, where it's like doing something hard, and like delayed gratification, and just like how it's like this like jockey meathead thing working out, whatever. But really it can pour into every area of your life. Like it gives you disciplines that they work for everything.
I just had a dude message me this morning. He messaged me at 7 a.m. He's been out of treatment a week. And he heard me speaking, so he's running now, and he's in the gym. And so he's been out 1 week, and he messaged me this morning. He's like, bro, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I can't get this gut to go away or this and that. I'm like, bro, you've been doing it a week. And I was like, and that's exactly what I told him. I was like, you need to get this instant gratification shit out of your head. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Like, you just need to fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
And good things will happen, I promise. And he's like, oh, you're right. But I was like, that's the most drug addict shit ever. Like, I've been running for a week. Why is my gut not gone?
Why don't I have a 6-pack? Yeah, bro. And it was like, and I was just fighting demons in there. Like, like I'd go to the gym. Like, I remember one of my friends now, Anthony, he was like, man, I never talked to you at first when you were in here because you look like you're bound. Because I was like, hood on, headphones in, like, don't talk to me. Right. That and still to this day, kind of like the gym's the one place I get to go where it's me, just me with me for a little while. It's like, it's cool because we're all together. Yeah. There's like other people, so you feel it's social. Yeah. But really, it's like, besides for like dabbing, I'm like, yeah, you good. I'm like, I'm not trying to hang out. Like, I'm trying to work out here.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dude, so through your whole journey, what would you say is the most, I know this is a little bit of a heavy question, but what would you say is the most valuable lesson that you've learned in your entire journey through addiction, through recovery, just in life?
I think that people can actually change. Like, that we can change in every way. Like, and that sounds simple, and it is, but it's like profound in the way that it means that I can change continuously. And I can use kind of the same format that I used for that in anything I'm doing next, right? Because I went from not being able to do anything to getting sober. Now I'm like, can I start a business? Yes. Anything I can do anything. That most of us can do anything.
Right.
Like, if we take those principles and put them into place, that it's like, it's not going to happen fast. It's probably going to be painful. I'm probably going to like hit some bumps in the road, but like all the things that work there, I've found work for anything I've tried to do so far.
Yeah. Hands down.
And that like community is important, and that, yeah, I just think that people can genuinely change. I think that's like the most important thing I've learned.
For sure. Dude, community's everything for me. And when I say community, it's more about the people I choose to surround myself with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they got to be good people. They have to be better than me. You know what I mean? Because I get very comfortable when I'm around people that aren't. They're just okay chilling. That's what happens in my life. I get very stagnant. And so it's like, I need to be around people that own businesses, that fucking are super successful. They're in great shape. They're doing crazy races. Like, because that's what makes me, that thing inside me go like, oh, I got to step my game up. I got to go. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think especially for a guy like you, and I know sometimes it happens for me, is like a lot of times you're like teaching people, and so people are going to look to you. It's not even peer level most of the time. They're going to be looking to you as like someone who's give them guidance, So I think like if that's your role, if you're a leader or you're a teacher, then we need people above us. Like, I need someone who's doing better than me. I'm not the kind of man who hates a man above me.
Right.
Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go. And I can like, it's even like with working out or with being in good shape. It's like when you walk up, I know what that takes. I know that you're a disciplined man. Like, I know that took years to put together, And so it's like the same thing. Like, I need to have people above me.
Right. Dude, I was involved with something recently, and there's no leadership. And I'm not in a position to be a leader in this thing. And so it's tough for me to be in it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Bro, I'm a soldier at the end of the day. I did 10 years in the military. As long as I know what the mission is, cool. Just tell me what direction we need to point, and I'm good.
Yeah.
But if I don't know the fucking direction, dude, I'm like lost. And unfortunately, like in the industry or the people we work with and stuff like that, it's a lot of like, you ever see that the GIF with Charlie from It's Always Sunny and the thing?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I feel like it's like.
Yeah.
I just can't do it, dude. Like, I'm not good like that. And so, like, I need to have that leadership. I need to have somebody to look. Every coach needs a coach, because I don't always have the answers for sure.
Yep.
But it's like, can you bring your ego down enough to admit that? Because there's a lot of people that aren't.
What's the most important thing you learned?
The importance of the people I choose to surround myself with, for sure.
That's really becoming more apparent to me in this portion of my life right now. Like, I've cut so many people out just because I don't have time for it. And I don't have time for people to just hang or take from me. I don't have any extra energy. Right. And so, yeah, I'm really learning the value in having like what is it? The sum total of the something people you hang out with. Show me a something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
but
I've heard it, but I don't.
Yeah, it basically means like you could tell who someone is by who they're surrounding themselves with.
Yeah.
And so that's really been kind of in like it's really been in my mind, like, to be very conscious of who's around me.
Yeah.
Because I absorb things and I am naturally going to be curious and learning. So I'm like really careful with that. Who's around me, what I listen to. It started off with food and learning the importance of like, because what you put in will change your body.
Yeah.
You know? Now I'm learning the same thing with like what I listen to, what I'm watching, what I'm reading. Like all this stuff's going to build me into like, because I have like an idea like of who I want to be. And now it's like I have to, you know, you got to find the recipe for it.
Right. Have you changed your music you listen to since getting sober?
Yeah, I mean, I still listen to some of the same in the gym.
Right.
Like, but I don't do it all the time. Like, I gotta kind of listen to chill shit. Like, I stay pretty chill. Even like, there's some stuff like I'll listen to like some like slow country shit sometime. Like, yeah, I can't listen to I can't listen to. I certainly can, but it changes the way I feel.
Does it?
Yeah. So I usually like there's certain music I listen to at the gym, but I still go to like metal shows.
Right.
And I still like all the music I listen to. It's just that I don't want that to be my vibe at all times.
Right. I never changed the music I listen to, and I don't know now if it's sobriety or getting older or whatever, but I'll still listen to the gutter shit, like on the way to the gym and stuff like that. But then other times I am finding myself, you know, going more towards softer stuff. My wife just took me to we just went and saw Post Malone.
Awesome.
Bro, I know he's huge.
Yeah.
But other than that song, White Iverson, I could not tell you a Post Malone song. I definitely now know why he is who he is. Like, that dude is a fucking talented artist. And dude, every song that came on, I'm like, oh, I do know this song. Oh, I do know this song. Like, this dude's got some bangers.
Yeah.
But dude, it was an incredible show. And I was like, all right, this Post Malone guy.
Yeah. Well, and I think also like as I get sober and as I get older, I'm a lot more open-minded.
Yeah.
You know, like I've learned that in getting sober. Like the people I hang out with, before everyone I hung out with looked like me, listened to the same shit I listened to. We're all in the same shit. Now it's like, if you saw my group of friends at like at a restaurant, you'd have no clue what the connecting piece is, you know, because it's just like, I'm fully tatted. This guy's like some country boy from fucking who worked on the oil rigs. This guy comes from some really rich family and in New England. Like, it's just, we're all connected through more of like what we all actually like and where we're all headed, and we want to be successful in these different things. But it's not like we're not connected anymore by like that shit.
Right. So when in a couple years, or you know, whenever you get to where you need to be, like, what is Path of Dog going to look like?
The Path of Dog is going to look like kind of exactly what we've been talking about. Like, I think like for me, what it is if me and you had this same experience with doing these things, it's probably impossible that we're the only two people this works for, because I know other people that's worked for. And what I want to build into is like using fitness kind of as the gateway to like learn those lessons in the beginning, right? So you have to have some workout, something. Gotta be, it's mandatory. And like learn how to eat properly, because that also like builds discipline. Like I basically want it to be a system of learning to build discipline to help men become better men, or to help young men become men. So I feel like right now we're in this like weird time where it's like, who does anyone look up to? Yeah.
Yep.
And like, it's not like back in the day when there was some like initiation thing. Like the best initiation we have is like probably doing drugs or fighting or drinking, you know, there's like nothing. And it's like, I know that when I was doing that shit, I really thought I was like becoming a man. And like, I was not for what I define a man as nowadays, you know? So I want to build something that I wish was there for me when I was younger, you know, where it's like, build discipline. And we're not like some weird square dudes that are like, you know, like we're tatted up, we're weird, we got crazy stories, you know, like, and also like, I want to be a good husband, and I want to be a good father, and I want to be honest, and I want to be able to be tough and vulnerable simultaneously when needed, you know, and I also want to know how to knock your head off if I need to, you know, like all these things are a necessity for me, where it's like, I walked around the world so scared for so long, realistic, if I was real, you know, like, and part of this was armor, you know, like I looked this way for a reason. I didn't want to have to, you know, I was walking into places I shouldn't have been, you know, and I didn't want to get killed, you know, I just want to get dope and get out.
Right.
And so I want to be able to, like take that and put it into a system that makes sense. And is like, cause like you were saying, at the end of the day, I work like that too. I grew up in a dojo with my dad, and it's like, I wasn't a soldier, but I know that when someone tells me things, I can follow directions. And when I'm super disciplined, I work my best. And I never thought that these words would come out of my mouth. You know, I was like, I'm not going to school. I got kicked out of school, you know, because I was like anti-authoritarian, no discipline. Now it's like the more disciplined I am, the better I show up. And the better I show up, the better people treat me. And when I'm treated well, I feel good, you know, and I have respect for myself. And and I don't walk around the world scared anymore. Right. And it's not just because I'm 200 pounds and covered in tattoos, but it's because I can like stand toe to toe with any man and like know that the way I'm living is in alignment with my goals and with my spirit and with my heart, you know, and I get to have integrity. And so that's really like what I want to do, because I especially working in this industry for so long, like I just have seen some of what I think are the failings of it, which is not addressing some real life shit. Because like, I can get you sober in a rehab, and then when I toss you out,
then what?
90-something% fall off right away, you know, and like, I know what it feels like to go from, being under a bridge in some city I don't know, to like watching my daughter be born. And I know that moment is worthwhile. And I know that other people should get to have that. And especially with this fentanyl crisis going on, like people are dying a lot, all the time, you know, and it's like we deserve, you know, people that are drug addicts deserve to be able to have these like beautiful moments.
Right.
So so like something they can kind of model that basically.
Did you ever knowingly get down on the fentanyl?
No, I was out before the fentanyl was in.
Right.
Yeah.
My last couple times hitting for whatever, I'd fall out, and I was doing the same dope, same person, same amount and everything. I'd just start falling out probably for like the last 6 months or so in my last run. And, I mean, I don't know for sure. It's not like I had the dope tested, but I have to believe that's what it was.
Fentanyl. How long ago was that?
7 years.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't, I think the people knew the word, but it wasn't like, now it's like second fetty. Now it's got fetty, fent, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's to the point now where I'm sober enough where they're starting to use terminology I don't know.
Bro.
It's like, oh man, I never thought this would be a thing.
Yeah, there's drugs I don't know. They're like, how do they keep passing this drug test? I know he's high. No, they just research chemical. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. Shit. Yeah, they got like numbers and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like, I don't know.
So you were punk through and through back in the day?
No, not really.
Oh, you weren't?
No, it was just like one of my phases. I've lived like, I was in the circus. I was a punk. I was a hippie. I was like,
circus?
Yeah.
I knew you were a stuntman for a while.
Yeah, I was a stuntman.
And you were in the circus. Yeah. What did you do in the circus?
Well, I wasn't in a like Barnum and Bailey circus.
Okay.
I was in a I'm trying to think. It was like a burlesque. We had our own stage at Coachella that we did 3 shows at.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like, it was like a Burning Man-y circus, you know, like beautiful women with the stuff. I did all because I was a rigger. I got into stunts, but I ended up doing stunt rigging. So I would set the stunts up and do the wire work. And I went and saw this circus in LA, and I was like, there's rigging in there. And I didn't like the movie industry. So I was like, I want to find something to do with this. And there's no practical application outside of that. And I like went up to this lady who ran the circus afterwards, and I was like, hey, I'm a rigger. And she's like, our rigger's moving to Australia in like a week. You want to train with them? We're going to like do the Emmys. And I was like, yeah.
Oh shit.
Let's go. Yeah. Close. Yeah. We like traveled through Europe. It was awesome, bro.
Really?
Yeah. Super good time. I was drinking too much, and I quasi kind of got fired by the end. I like destroyed some things and had some bad days, but for the most part, I was holding it together. But it was a really fun period.
Right.
So I wasn't like a punk through and through. Like, I mean, I grew up in South Florida listening to like screamo music, but I also like had gold teeth.
Right.
You know, so it's like I was just like a mishmash. I think for me it was like I just ended up on the outskirts.
Right.
So any group that would take me in, like, because most people wouldn't for very long, I'd pop over here.
Right.
So you were like, oh, you're awful. Like I was too hippie for the punks, and I was too punk for the hippies. I was too violent for them, and I was not violent enough for them, you know. And so I kind of like moved through it all.
Right.
I didn't, like I said, like I had no idea who I was. I was just like trying to find myself through groups or whatever it was. You know?
Yeah.
If you had a gang, I'd join it. Like I was just like, I just wanted to like roll with some people and
belong.
Yeah, belong.
I feel you.
Yeah.
So what would you say, hypothetically speaking, tonight, you're walking out for the UFC heavyweight championship. You have one song to walk out to that's going to get you fucking jacked up. What are you listening to? Your walkout music.
God. I know what it is, and I want to like pick up my phone because I swear I gotta look because I can't think of it because you're asking me, which annoys me.
On the spot.
Yeah, dog, this is it, bro. I'm telling you, I got the song. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. And it's something I just started listening to, but I was like, yeah, that's the one I'm going out to.
Is it metal?
It's not.
Oh, it's not metal?
No, dude, it's rap.
Oh, let's go. Now we're talking my language.
You know who would be? Have you ever heard of OT the Real?
Of course.
It would be OT the Real by my side.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I didn't even know you know who OT the Real is.
Well, I was like a real hip hop head too. You know, I was
I
like,
know that.
yeah, I was just like into music. I was always like a real creative person. So I was like, that's why I was like, I was never anything because I was like deep into hip hop and like and gutter rap and yeah, I just loved it all.
Who are some of your favorite artists rap wise?
Right now,
ever.
I don't know. I want to give like some cheesy, like Nas or
no. Give me some people like OT the Real. That's who you really. One of my favorite ones is Don Tripp. Guaranteed nobody listening to this knows who Don Tripp is, but Don Tripp, beast.
I don't know Don Tripp.
He's from Memphis. He's a lyricist. He's been dropping an album a month for like the past year.
Really?
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who I've been getting into a lot lately.
You know who's a beast that a lot of people don't know is a beast?
Who?
Pitbull.
I don't know Pitbull. Wait, Pitbull?
Miami Pitbull.
Really?
Bro, you don't know.
No. Are you joking?
No.
Really?
Bro, listen to his first album. It's called In Miami.
Yeah.
MIAAMI.
Money,
money is a major issue.
Yeah.
So he was
like a lyricist?
Bro.
Really?
He was a gangster rapper before he started doing all his little Ricky Martin shit.
Yeah.
He just hit big with that. And you got to go get your money. I get it. But he was with Lil Jon before. He had long hair, braids.
What?
Dude. Look him up, bro. Listen to the 305 anthem and tell me that shit don't get you fucking hype.
It's sick, dude.
Bro, the whole time I was down there was when I had discovered all that, when I was down in there. And then I was in Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood the one night and got into it with a guy. And then afterwards, nothing ended up happening. And then who I was with, we all left. And then come to find out it was supposed to be Pitbull's brother. And he's like the real street dude you don't want to fuck with. And I'm like, well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked all the like TDE, like all that, like before like Kendrick Lamar's whole group. They're like,
how old are you?
41.
Oh yeah, you should definitely know Pitbull. I didn't realize it was.
Well, I know who Pitbull is. I just wouldn't think of Pitbull as a rapper. Period. Like
beast.
Really,
beast. First 3 albums, fire.
I like a lot of the guys that are coming out of like Atlanta that kind of like. J. Cole will like set up these like studio things and have a bunch of people come to. I think it's called like Dream World or something like that. I like a lot of those guys that are coming out.
There's a dude from Atlanta. I think his name is Deontay Hitchcock, and he was in all that.
Yeah,
I discovered him through J. Cole doing that. Beast.
Yeah. There's a lot of them coming out of there. I like a lot of stuff coming out of Atlanta right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But OT the Real, that was the answer. Love it.
Yes.
Brother, thank you for taking the time to come on and come out, dude. It's been an absolute pleasure. I fucking love seeing what you're doing, dude. Keep it up. If I can ever help you in any way, shape, or form, say the word. You got anything you want to share? Anything you want to plug?
I mean, I got Pat the Dog on Instagram. That's the whole thing. And I mean, I'm just doing like daily stories with it and inspirational stuff and showing workouts and showing food, showing my daughter a lot. No, I just want to say that I'm really grateful for this opportunity, and you have inspired me. You continue to inspire me. It's, you know, I think like stepping out in the way you are and doing these things, you know, I know sometimes you can like, people throw shade at you for, oh, what does he think he's fucking whatever? But like that kind of bravery that it takes to do this shit, like inspires me, and then I get to pass it down. So yeah, just thank you, man. This is a honor and a blessing.
Thank you, dude. People throwing shade?
People always throw shade. If you do,
find out. I haven't heard it if they are.
Yo, you go on Instagram, period, people talk shit.
I know.
Terrible out there.
If let's say somebody's tuning into this and this is the first time they came in contact with you or hearing your story or anything like that, but they're out there still struggling, what you got any words for them?
Yeah, man, reach out for help. That's it. Like for real, I think it's the most humbling thing that we do is eventually to just like, you don't have to do it on your own. You probably can't do it on your own, to be quite honest with you. You know, and never give up. Like I've been in it now. I've relapsed over and over. But the one thing I never did is I never gave up. I've always got up, dusted off, started over, reluctantly sometimes. But it's just like, I'm like, it's got to work eventually, you know? And so I think just like be persistent and like, dude, it's life or death. For me, it's life or death, you know? So it's like, I can't give up or I die.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Brother, I love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So the way we like to end the podcast, we end it the same way every way. If you would be so kind to take a look in your camera right here.
Okay.
This one, throw out some I am statements to let them know who Damian is.
Like to describe me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm strong. I am Pat the Dog. I'm a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
All right. I'm a father. I am blessed. I am grateful. I'm strong. I'm nervous about doing this. Yeah, I am